Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review the RUGCEL Tank 12,000 pound winch. This winch was bought with my own money, so they didn't send it out to me or anything like that. This is my first winch, and I thought I would make a unboxing video of it and an install on my Nissan Xterra. All right, so this is the box that it comes in. I actually already opened it up to check it out, but I figured I would film it for you guys and also kind of go over all the individual components of this winch. So let's start by opening it up here. All right, so in the box, you have some winch information here about like how you assemble it, what screws goes where. Also some warranty information. You have your little booklet here. There's some more information on how the winch is assembled, what the wiring should be, like how you hook up the wiring, the operation of the winch, like the duty cycle of it. You get this winch line pull strap. You also get the Fairlead. It's pretty smooth for the most part, I would say. There is a little bit of a texture to it from the paint job that they've done. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but right about here, you can kind of feel a little lip there. I think in the future I would upgrade this Fairlead. It's not bad for, for what it comes with. I've seen some on Amazon just from the pictures. It looks like it's pretty like a like a straight edge on some of these Fairleads. This one's fairly round, but I don't know. We'll see. You also have your positive and negative cables. I would say they're pretty thick. They're definitely pretty flexible though, so that I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that'll definitely come in handy for installation. Got some hardware. I think this is for the on-off switch. Got some stickers, your hardware here, which they're pretty thick. I would say they're about like a 3/8 inch or so. Some of them are pretty shiny. Some of them are this like kind of like galvanized look to it. The hook is actually pretty beefy. There's definitely some weight to it. I'm not going to be using this one though. I'm going to be using a Agency 6 winch shackle. So it's billet aluminum, I think, but it's definitely a lot lighter than this. Okay, let's see what's inside. All right, so inside here we got, let's start with this here. This is the brain box or the control box here. And there's some mounting points on the bottom of it. There's a side port here, which that's where your controller would go into. And then all your wires, which again, they seem pretty flexible, but they're pretty thick. So this is the cable for your controller, which I think is in this, yeah, this box here. So this is your controller, and I think it already comes with a battery in it. The buttons down here, it's really hard to see, but this one here, that's supposed to be like the winch drum roll, and there's a little down arrow, which of course I think that is to retract the winch line, and then this one here is for winch out. I think they could have designed this a little better, maybe make the arrows a lot bigger, or you know, maybe flip it around so you have an actual like down and up button. I don't know. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like this is the image of the winch there. And then there's probably, this is for like a little lanyard or something like that. But yeah, that's your remote control. And to charge it, you would need to plug this into the actual winch, which it's too bad they didn't use like a cigarette lighter. I might try to make something for it since it's only a 4-pin. We'll need to see what's the power and what's the negative, but I think it's doable. You can probably make it so you can plug it into a cigarette lighter and charge it. And it even comes with a spare battery too. And here we have our on-off switch, which is nice. You would take off one of the panels and feed your wires in there, and then you would use this to turn on and off the winch when it's not in use. So helps save on battery, doesn't burn out your motor and stuff. I think that's a nice touch to include in the in the packaging here. Oh, this fell out of the box. This is for a winch battery. I guess you get an extra battery, which is cool. And then, of course, you got the actual winch. So let me get this out of the box here. I already weighed it. It's about 43 pounds without the box, or without anything else. The clutch disengage here, you would lift up and turn it, and then you would be able to free spool it. I've seen some videos where people can clock this, but I don't know if you can do it with this one or not. I don't think I will need to with my steel bumper, but if we have to, we'll cross that bridge. Mounting points for the winch control box there. You would just mount it up to that. And it looks like the winch line here comes with this metal sheath here to protect the winch line there. And I'm kind of happy that I didn't get the blue version. Some people got the blue version with stickers, and I'm pretty happy I got the black version. Not that it matters. So here's the back side of the winch here. They're clearly labeled, which is cool. They're letter labeled and they're color coded, so pretty hard to mess up the wiring. Got a couple of warning labels on here. A bit of the information. I had looked through the instruction manual, and the English is pretty good. So for it being a Chinese product, I think it's pretty well done. Let's look at the owner's manual here. So we got a table of contents and stuff. I already read through this, and for the most part, the English is pretty spot on. I haven't found any like grammatical errors or weird like punctuation errors or anything like that. So for the most part, I think this is pretty well done. They even give you some like tips on like how to winch. For instance, like winching with your spare wheel. I didn't even know you could do that, which that's pretty cool. It's kind of acts like a anchor. This is really important here. This is the duty cycle of the winch, and it says if you're winching for 45 seconds, you need at least 14 minutes of rest. So I think that would depend on how much load you actually have on the winch. So if you're like, winching uphill or anything like that, yeah, definitely give it a break. But I think if you're just unspooling and respooling it, who knows? You'd probably would just want to keep an eye on the temperature of the motor. All right, so that was the unboxing. I'm gonna go ahead and move my CX9, and I'm gonna pull up the Xterra and try to install this. All right, so I got my Xterra pulled up, and I think I'm gonna try to install the winch just by taking off the grill, but I don't know. We'll see if it fits or not. I really hope I don't have to take off the front bumper and, you know, reinstall the bumper with the winch attached. So we'll see. So it looks like I might have enough room to sort of sneak the winch inside here, but I definitely will put like a sheet of cardboard here just so I don't damage any sensors or this cooler here. But yeah, let's try to fit it in there. All right, so let's work on mounting up these cables here. So this positive one, this actually goes to your battery. So we're not going to hook up any of that to the back here, but these other ones, the yellow, red, and black, and then also there's this tiny like ground wire or whatever. It goes to the motor earth terminal, so we got that too. So we'll go ahead and do the negatives first because that's nice and easy. And you want to kind of plan out how your winch box is going to sit. So mine is probably going to sit more or less like this. And I have a bracket from the bumper manufacturer. I'll figure out how to fit that in. Probably use some riv nuts or something, but we'll sit in there. Is this low enough to? Huh. See, I'm wondering if. Yeah, I don't want the wires to rub up against that, so. I'm wondering if there's a. It almost looks like I can have the winch box on top. Nope, I can't. Nope. I'm going to have to hide it behind the grill. Okay, that I kind of expected that, so. Oh, so this black one actually doesn't go to the motor ground. There's a different black um, post that it would go onto. The long one they give you, however, that would go onto the post. So let's go ahead and fix that on. I'm gonna just loosely tighten these until I can get an actual wrench on them. And you want to check your wiring, make sure you're doing it right. Otherwise, you can damage the winch. So I think what I'm going to do for this is probably make 2 holes here, but I'm going to drill through this plate here. I think this feels like steel. It's kind of heavy. But yeah, let's go ahead and try that. And then that way the winch box would sit kind of in this area here. I'm not a fan of blocking more airflow to the radiator, but it's not much. I don't think it's going to do too much. So I'm going to go ahead and drill these out, and then we'll see how it looks. You know, I just noticed there's an existing hole there, so I might try doing that with one of these slots here. Drill into there, and then maybe drill through these two. Drill through this plate and the bracket there and see if that works. I'm trying to avoid drilling through this bracket because it's kind of thick. So maybe there's another way. We'll see. All right, so I got the winch mount plate mounted up with the control box there. So the next thing I'm going to do is bolt the winch to the actual bumper. But I keep dropping bolts. But I think my radiator skid might be in the way, so we'll need to see what's up with that. So you get these little square ones that you slide into the base of the winch, and then that will let you tighten it down. There's 4 total. There we go. So that's 2. I should have maybe put these in first, but that's okay. I think I can sneak it in there. So far, so good. Everything is starting to come together. Got the last bolt here. Yep, 17. Get a short one for more control. And I'm going to tighten these in a crosshatch pattern. Okay, there we go. Directions say at the bottom to tighten to 35 foot-pounds, 30 to 35 foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and do that. So it wasn't much tighter than what I already had done. Each one is like maybe a 180 half turn from what I've already done. So pretty much hand tight. I've got the winch torqued down. That's good. And then next I am going to tighten down all the wiring. I'm just going to add some cable protector to this real quick here. Add some wire loom to it. It's barely big enough for it, but better than nothing. I could probably have this replaced. All right, next up, I'm going to install the Fairlead. All right, guys, so I have the winch fully installed. Did a couple of just short test pulls and it's working good. Just so you know, just so you can see how I am running the control box, it's now mounted on this cord support here, and there's the box. I am able to reach the port where I would hardwire the controller. This is how I currently have my switch hooked up. It's not permanent. I'm gonna get a longer cable and probably move it over to this side where the airbox is. There's just way more room here, and I have a lot more options in terms of mounting. So, but yeah, that's it. That's the winch. That's the winch install here. Stay tuned for some test runs I'm gonna do with the winch. Thanks for watching.